Hello everyone, welcome to season 9 of the Gravediggers, where hopefully things are really going to start happening for us now in terms of Champions League football after the disappointment in the last 2 seasons of not getting through the league phase. We did lose a place in our coefficients, so as it stands, even if we were to win the league this season, we still wouldn't go straight through to the league phase, so we really need ourselves and the 2 other Serbian teams in European competitions to pull their fingers out and get some coefficient points on the table. You join us just coming towards the end of October, so we've had a massive transfer window. We played the first 15 games in the leagues. We played the first sort of half of our league campaign. We played 2 Champions League games, and we've got another massive game in the Champions League to go today. A win could see us go into the top 8. Let's go. Yeah, hi everyone, welcome back to the Gravediggers. We are here, Partizan Belgrade. Big season for us, but first, now for those of you who don't know, earlier on this week in Serbia, there were 2 mass shootings in the capital of Belgrade. Now, we have quite a few subscribers from Serbia at the moment who've been following this series. So obviously, I think I speak for everyone when I say we hope that you, your family, your friends, everyone you care about is safe. And there is a GoFundMe link that I put in the description down below. I can't remember who's created it, but it's just basically just raising money for the families that have been affected. So if anyone fancies donating, the link is down below in the description. Even if, as it stands at the time of recording, I have 220 subscribers. If everyone donated like a fiver, about £1,000, for example, or even if, as it stands, we've only got maybe sort of like 30, 40 people following the series at the moment, even if every single one of those people who watch these episodes donated a fiver, that's like 150 to 200 quid. And it would just help going towards paying for the funerals of these people who've lost their lives, some of them school children, supporting the families and things like that, any treatment that they might require as well, medical bills and things. If anyone fancies donating, the link is down below. Obviously we hope that everyone is safe and well. So where are we at? Yeah, as you can see, we are second in the league, level on points with Vojvodina, 6 points behind a flying Red Star. They haven't lost a game yet. That does mean that they did beat us quite comfortably in the end. They got 2 goals from set pieces and just a third goal on the counter, I believe it was. Yeah, so they beat us 3-0, which was very disappointing because after they beat us last time out in the cup, we were really intent on getting revenge. Now, as I said, we did have a huge transfer window. Some players left that we were happy to let go, and some were deals that we really did not want to do. The first off was Jose Mancia. Now, about 5-6 months prior to this, so sort of March, April time, maybe even February, we managed to get him to agree to a new contract. His release clause was 7.5 mil, but basically we had no choice but to give him a 9 mil release clause. It was non-negotiable, so we couldn't even increase it by much. And then when the summer came round, he had interest from like Lazio, Nice, who ended up joining, and Man City. So we had no chance of getting him to sign a new contract. And as it was in the end, he ended up going to Nice for 9 million, which was a real shame because, as you can see, he's currently valued, there 68 to 80 million, but here it's saying 9 to 10.5. But he's obviously had, by all accounts, a very, very good season so far at Nice, averaging 7.61 in the league and 7.5 in the Champions League, with a goal and an assist in the Champions League. So, it was a shame to lose him, but it was taken out of our hands. Another one that was taken out of our hands, and exactly for the same sort of reason, was Jaroslav Romanchuk. So earlier on this season, we've managed to increase his release clause, I think, from like 10 mil to 13.5 mil. Actually, no, with him, his release clause was 13.5 mil, I believe, when he signed. And every time we tried to offer him a new contract to increase it, or get rid of it, his release clause kept going lower. So I was like, well, I'm not going to agree to a lower release clause. If I sell you, I'd rather just get 13.5 mil. If I have no choice, even though it meant us making a loss of 6 million on him. So as it was, the summer came round, and then he had 3 clubs hit his release clause, Southampton being one of them. And there was a little message saying, he's happy to talk to Southampton, but he's also happy to stay at the club. So I was like, well, I'm going to offer him a new contract. Even then, the release clause that we could only give him was 16.5 mil, but I thought it's still better than 13.5 mil. So I was quite shocked when he actually ended up leaving, considering he said he was quite happy to stay. And as you can see, he's worth 76 or 108 million. He's still only 19, and I think he's going to go on to be like an elite top 5 centre-back in this simulation. And now we move on to a signing which I wasn't completely against doing, and that was Giga Shresh. So he had, obviously, as you can see, developed consistency issues and big match issues. And then Bournemouth came in and bid for him, so like 7 mil. But I managed to negotiate them up to 12.5. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, you know what? Like, I kind of think that the level he's at the moment, he's maybe not going to surpass that. So we let him go in the end. Don't get me wrong, he had one really good season for us last season, maybe not so much. In terms of like goal scoring, he did provide one more assist that last season than did overall. He's still averaging a good rating, but he's gone to Bournemouth in the Premier League, so I think that's not bad business, really. So another departure was Victor Lopez. So with Dennis Simon obviously joining, he was the number one keeper. Lopez wasn't all that happy about dropping down after playing pretty much the whole season beforehand. And then with Edelson joining as well, it was one of them, I guess he was going to struggle for a bit more game time. He came to us basically in the January saying he wanted to leave. And I was like, no, I still kind of need you, but I'll loan you out instead. And he was like, yeah, that's great. Couldn't loan him out, but he appreciated that we tried. But as it was, he still wasn't 100% happy. He was starting to kick up a little bit of a fuss. And then Union Berlin came in for him. Basically, Lopez's contract expired in 12 months and he wasn't going to renew with us because he was waiting on the promise of being loaned out. And I thought, well, if I can't loan him out, I couldn't end up losing him for free. So I managed to negotiate them up to, I think it was 4.2 mil, but potentially for 5.25 an add-on. So if they come in, we will make a slight profit on him. So he's gone out to Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, and he's not had a great start, 6.3 after his first 8 games. Another player who we were courting interest for was Stefan Bajcetic. Now, he really did not like big matches. He wasn't the most physical in terms of speed. And when Salzburg came in and bid 6.75 mil for him, which was a little bit of a loss on what we made for him, but I think he only had maybe sort of like a year left on his contract or something like that, or not long anyway. So I was like, you know what, I'd rather just take the money while we can and use it to reinvest in the squad. So that's what we did. Another deal which we actively pushed, to be fair, as horrible as it sounds, because we did sell Delabasic to Mainz in the end. So he again didn't like big matches. And with the changes in the EU rules, it no longer meant that having a Serbian striker was essential for us, especially when we've got Damian Vukovic coming through the youth ranks. He's out on loan at Voždovac in the second division, who are a new feeder club, our new affiliate. So we made the move to sell Delabasic in the end and sort of bring some money into the team. So we sold him for 5 mil, 1.8 mil we paid for him. He left as a bit of a legend of the club, to be fair. As we can see, 79 goals in 153 games. So he's averaging just under, just under a goal. A goal under just, start again. Get your words out, Tom. A goal in just under every 2 games. Raul Walter was someone we managed to sign a few years ago, and when he was sort of 17, 18, and he'd done all right for us when he'd played, don't get me wrong, but I felt that with us having Granados and Alexic and a couple of other players who are sort of coming through potentially in the future, I basically just felt like his game time was going to drop and his value was only going to decrease, his development was going to stagnate. So we offered him out, and we managed to get 3.7 mil for him from Lech Poznan, which when we bought him for 1.9 mil, we still made a profit, so I'm quite happy with that. And then this one, Maicon as well, this was kind of a double-edged bonus, really. He has also gone out to Lech Poznan with Raul Walter. So basically with the selling Delabasic, Maicon wasn't happy about it, because he was like, why are you trying to force him out? And it was like, well, I have my reasons and I don't really need to explain them to you. He didn't like big matches. He wasn't the quickest. He'd had a solid spell with us, but basically we ended up selling him to Poznan. We basically made our money back on him a little bit more. He's gone out there and it killed 2 birds with 1 stone, because it freed up another non-EU spot for us and also got rid of a player who wasn't happy about the way we were getting rid of Delabasic, so it just removed any sort of further disgruntlement. We sold another player to Southampton, and that was Stefano Stridi. Someone who, consistency issues. We felt like he was maybe reaching a point where, was he going to improve much more than what he had already? And with us having a new left-back join the club, a much younger one, and with us having Filipovic, who can also play at left back, and another centre half who can play at left back signing. It made sense in the end just to let him go and get what money we could for him. So he went for 4 million. It's a bit of a kicker when you see that his value is estimated to be 31 to 44 million, but then again 750 to 6.75. We still made a profit on him. We doubled our money. He'd never played like consistency. Obviously foreign player rules didn't help, but he had been injured, and he never really averaged much more than 6.82, 6.86. So I think that was a fair move. And then one of our stalwarts in Nikola Milicic, who'd been with us for quite a while now. He played 89 games for us over 3 years. He ended up leaving. He said he was going to explore his options at the end of his year, at the end of his contract. I was like, that's fine. You've been a really good servant for us. I don't envisage you getting loads of game time coming forwards because of the players we brought into the club. So I offered him out because he was quite happy. He was like, I'm happy to stay. I'm happy to leave if you want to offer me out now. He was really good about the whole thing. So so we ended up offering him out, and he went to Utrecht for £1 million, and we doubled our money on him again. As you can see, he's played quite a lot of games for us since he's joined. Been a pretty solid performer, so can't complain. And then I suppose the last sort of real deal of any sort of note would be us selling Milos Jovanovic, who'd been with us for 5 seasons. He was someone who I was quite happy to keep around because he was a good utility player. He was another one who was unhappy about the Delabasic thing. And then we had a couple of offers come in for him, and he was like, actually, I want that move. Like, I don't want to stay. I want to make the next sort of step, basically. So it's like, you know what? That's fine. If you want to leave, you can go. We did make a little bit of a loss on him in the end, but I think he was another one. He only had a year left on his deal, so it was like he wasn't going to sign, so we might as well sell him. Made a small loss, but you know what? For the player he was and how sort of much he'd featured for us, I was quite happy with that. Now, some of you will have noticed as I was talking through some of those players who've left, that there have been some names that you didn't recognise. And the first one is Elliot Bettens. So with Shresh leaving and with us losing Mancia, obviously we needed some more options on the wing. And this was someone that our scouts found while searching in Belgium for us. And they found this young, super athletic Belgian winger who, with those sort of attributes in the physical side, combined with his really good crossing and dribbling, I just thought, what a winger to bring in. So he's predominantly an inverted winger cutting in, but we are hopeful that we're going to be able to train him to play out on the right just to improve his versatility. He's had a relatively sort of solid start. He's not uprooted any trees just yet, but he did pick up an injury as well, so early on, so he's only really just started to get into the team regularly. So after signing Bettens for 21 mil and then a couple of our centre-halves moving on in Romanchuk, I mean, to be fair, actually Suarez was someone we've been looking at for a while when we knew we were losing Hishek, and I knew that this was a guy I wanted to bring in. We've watched him for about 2 or 3 years now, and he's developed really, really nicely. He is an absolute beast, and it is Jose Suarez. He joined us from Benfica for 33.5 mil, and he has basically just become like our number one right back, replacing Romanchuk, right-sided centre-half, alongside Romanchuk, after Romanchuk left, and Bahoke. So he does have an injury-prone trait, which Romanchuk also had. Now with Romanchuk, it never seemed to cause us any issues. And so far with Suarez, he's not had any injuries, touch wood, that have been of any note. In fact, I don't think he's had any at all with us. He had a tight Achilles in the August, and he was out for 2 days, and that's been it. Now, this is a deal we actually did way back in like May, June, and that was Gianluca Mancini. Now, you might think, Tom, why have you signed him? He's 34 years old. Well, one thing I've worried about us missing out is a bit of experience and a bit of an older head. So we saw that he was leaving Everton on a free signing at the end of his deal. And I thought with his mentals, and I thought he can still do a job for us. He's versatile. He can play centre-half or in the number 6 role. We offered him a contract and he was more than happy to come and play for us. So he is down as a star player. He's mainly been actually used as like a rotation option at the moment, just while we try and bleed him into the team. But I envisage he will start getting more game time just because we're going to have to start rotating more as the game frequency increases. So, he's someone who's just here basically just to do a job, just to be a mentor, help give us a bit of experience, close games out, things like that. Another player who our scouts were raving off was Juninho Carioca. He came in from Flamengo for his release clause of 14.25 mil. Very versatile player, can play number 10 at a push. I think he could definitely get better at playing that. But and mainly play him as a striker. He can play in the midfield as well, but like I said, he's mainly a striker, especially with that finishing of 17. Relatively decent pace, but good acceleration and agility. And dribbling, first touch and finishing means he's really, really good to have for sort of leading that line and getting in and around the box. So far, 3 goals just in his, 11 appearances. So could be better, but I would say all of our strikers have struggled for a little bit of form and consistency so far, just as they've been getting in, because essentially apart from Martinez, all our sort of 3 strikers, we've got 2 new strikers basically. Martinez only joined in January, so they are just finding a bit of form. Another centre half who's been on our books, on our shortlist for a while, is Frederik Jensen, a young Danish centre half, left-sided, can also play at left back, so good versatility. We brought him in from Gravediggers for 7 mil. I think it's a bit of a steal, really, for someone who's as good as he is. And really, really happy to have him. He's got 3.5, potentially 4.5 star potential. And decent player, decent utility player. Happy to come in as a squad player, be a nice rotation option for us, especially with us losing when we lost Romanchuk. And Hishek going, it made sense to try and bring some more legs in. And then also with Striddy leaving, I like the fact that he could quite easily play that left back role, and he is better than Striddy was ever going to be as well, and is. Now we needed a little bit of rotation option in the midfield, and that is an area I am still looking for strength, because I do feel like depth in the midfield is a bit of an issue. We're basically playing Perez and Voronkov pretty much week in, week out now, and they are getting tired. They often, it's difficult for both of them to last a full 90 at this stage. So this guy came up on our scouts. It wasn't someone that a nationality that I was particularly open to really pushing the signing for, an Argentinian, just because with him being a non-EU player, we do have an issue that we can only have 4 non-EU players in the matchday squad. So it does limit us a little bit when because we have got 5 I think now after losing Romanchuk, but then we replaced him with Castorani basically. But yeah, really good player, really, really good. 2.5 star at the moment, 4 star potential, possibly even 5. Perfect Segundo Volante with that decent finishing. He also just smashed in a free kick in his last game. But yeah, really good midfielder. It says Roman playmaker, but he's mainly playing in the Segundo Volante role. And then after the Romanchuk move, we were looking for a first team centre half. Someone who not like a Jensen or a Mancini, who we were thinking they'll be sort of maybe not solid first team options. We sent our scouts out to urgently find someone. In fact, actually, it was after Romanchuk left that we lost to Red Star 3-0. So I think, the losing Romanchuk did impact on our defence a little bit for that game. And then we brought in El Shaddai Bichiabu. So he is someone who I have been scouting on FM for quite a while over the last couple of years. Basically, he's currently coming through the PSG ranks, and finally on FM23 he does seem to develop into a pretty decent centre half. He is massive, he's 6.5 foot. He's already got 1 goal from a corner, and that was in the Champions League. And he has just slipped in quite seamlessly into our back line. And him and Suarez are a really decent partnership. Now we just move on to a couple of little sort of young signings for the future. Shaba Kurtesh came in from Molfehavar, Hungarian midfielder, predominantly going to be eventually used as a number 10, I would imagine. Trying to get a loan move for him, struggling to find one just yet. Basically, the issue I'm having is Serbian clubs will take some of my players on loan, but anyone who's not EU, who's not Serbian, they don't seem to want to take, even though we no longer have the foreign player restrictions. It's more just non-EU based now. But yeah, someone who I think could be a decent utility player for us going forward, if not potentially even someone who could play regularly. Let me come on to the last one, which was Davide. Now, we've been watching him again for a good 18 months. Came through at Rio Ave, and someone who's got really good potential, I feel, to play as a striker. He can obviously play as a winger if needed. He'd probably be someone who, realistically, with those attributes, I'd actually push to train him more as an inside forward on the left-hand side. But again, someone I'm trying to find a loan move for. But we'll see how we get on with that one. But someone who, for now, can just develop out of Teleoptic if needed. And then finally, we're going to start getting into some games now. So we can talk about our first game in the Champions League, where we lost 3-1 to Leverkusen. Now, stats-wise, they obviously more than deserved their win. Their press was incredible from these 2 defensive midfielders. And Wirtz, to be fair, is playing a shadow striker, was dropping quite deep. So these three were pressing Voronkov and Perez so hard. So when Suarez and Bichabou were playing the ball into the midfield, they were literally just getting swarmed from behind. If you can hear any noise, by the way, it's two of my cats are chasing each other around the room. So yeah, they were literally just absolutely just swarming them, pushing on them. Oh my word, it was like horrendous. Like, we just couldn't win the midfield battle. So what I did was I basically switched from short passing, focus play down the side, and went more direct. And it did seem to help. We stopped the press through the middle quite as well. And then at half time, I was thinking, great, 2-1, let's come out, regroup, go back out and see what we can do. And things were going all right until this. So Simon reclaims the ball after a nice routine cross. We have three centre-halves, like three defenders around Simon. He plays it to Bichabou, who decides to pass it to the one place where a Leverkusen player is. And that killed the game. So I'm thinking, great, here we go. Another horrific start to a Champions League campaign. Thankfully, we have Ferencváros next, and we beat them 4-0. Quite comfortably. Nemanja Jovic getting 3 assists. He's been mainly playing out on the right because we've been playing Bettens and Choquette out on the left, and Choquette has had a great start to the season, to be fair to him. And Jovic has actually done really well on this role on the right-hand side. In fact, how many goals has he got? He's got 5 goals so far, 4 assists. He's done really well, to be fair to him. So yeah, I did touch on Stefan Choquette. So he's someone who joined us last season, and now that we obviously don't have the rules regarding his playing time, as you can see, 5 goals and 6 assists in the league. Been very, very good coming in off that left-hand side. And I did mention that we had signed a new left-back, and I forgot to show you him. It was Hossein Nazari, who came in from Bayern Munich just for 2.2 mil. He's only 19. He turned 19 since he's joined us, and he has had a really decent start to his time here at Partizan. He's played most games, and hopefully he's just going to continue developing really, really well. So our game today is against Atletico Madrid. Now, obviously, you didn't see it on camera last time, but last time we played these, we actually won 2-1. And I'm obviously hopeful that we can do the same today, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a rubbish episode, because the amount of time I spent on that intro, I was just going to focus mainly on this game and then worry about, then we'll move on. I won't do the Yavel Matis game, which you've got in the league, because I knew I was going to be talking a lot about this one. So we've got a couple of players still expecting promises. So Federico Martinez is wanting a fair amount of playing time. He hadn't been playing well. I criticised him, then he actually scored 2 last time out. The same also applies to Javi Granados. So you may remember that Ezequiel Perez wasn't happy about his game time, but since the squad rules changed, and like I said, he's been playing as our main volante alongside Voronkov, he was happy. He said, I'm happy about my game time now, thanks a lot. Brilliant. Granados played the first 7 games, wasn't playing great, so I dropped him for Alexic. Alexic comes in, bags a hat-trick first game, so obviously I play Alexic the next game. And then we had a game up 3 days later, so I rotated him out and put Granados in, which I think was actually the Leverkusen game. Bear in mind, at this point, I'd criticised Granados for poor performances, and he was like, that's fine, yeah, I'm on it, I'll start playing better. So he scored against Leverkusen, and then he scored in his next game as well. I'm thinking, brilliant, it's worked. And then he comes to me saying, I'm really not happy that you've not played me, I don't think I can trust you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I played you, I don't know what more you want me to do, but I'll try and play you even more, that's fine. I appreciate the way these promises work, is they literally expect to start every game no matter how they're playing, which I think is a bit of a flaw personally in the game myself, but hey, who am I? And so he was like, I'm really not happy, and I was like, well, just suck it up and get on with it. And then I got asked in the media about, what are you going to do about Granados wanting his game time? I was like, well, I'm going to play him. I've got no choice but to play him. You get the game time he wants. And then it came from that, Granados expecting promise based on what you said in your press conference that you're going to play him. And I have played him religiously, even when he's been tired, and I wouldn't have ordinarily played him. But to be fair to him, he has rewarded me, because he's got some 5 goals now in all comps. He scored against Ferencváros, and he also scored. He scored a couple in the league, I think, maybe. He scored. Scored against Ferencváros, scored against Subotica last time, scored against Leverkusen, scored against Vojvodina, and scored against Kruševac Actually, so it must have been around here that I criticised him. Yeah, because it was in this game that Alexic got the hat-trick, actually. And as you can see, his rating, 6.3, 6.8, 7.4, 7.2, to be fair, good start. No assists yet, though. And then a 7 in the Radnički game when he came on at 70 minutes. Well, that's probably because we were winning. Then 6.3, 6.8, 7.3, 7.6, 6.2, 6.3. But he has, as you can see, started to pick it up a little bit lately. So he's still not been great, but he is generally performing a little bit better now than he was. So, and look at that, 19 appearances out of a possible 20. You can't complain that he's not been playing a lot just because he's not been starting. But as you can see, he's literally just been on all the time. He has come off as a sub because he's been tired. But, you know, that's what we have to do. So I think today we go with this. Castorani is in for the injured Ezekiel Perez. He's not fully ready yet to come back. Alexic also just coming back from injury. And we'll stick with Martinez because he wants the game time and he did just score last time out. And then we'll go with Rogan, Suarez, Bishiabu, Filipovic at the back. We've got Nazari on the bench along with Mancini, Voronkov, Castorani, Granados, Jovic, Bettins and Martinez with Choquette on the bench, Juninho Carioca, Omid Kazimi. And yeah, I think we're pretty much good to go. Bogdan Macetic has had a good start to this season as well. Been really nice to see him coming back to the club and doing really, really good. So we're going up against an Atletico Madrid team who haven't been great in their league. I did check their form. They're 8th. They've only just scraped 1-0 wins in the last couple of games against Espanyol and Getafe, I think, having lost to Cadiz. They lost to Ajax in the first Champions League game for them, and then they've just beaten Universitatea Craiova from Romania, I think. Oh no, is it the Romanian team or the... I can't remember. They beat them 3-1. So, and like I said, last time we played these, we did beat them 2-1, but last time we played Leverkusen and PSG, we beat them 2-1 before we played them again, and then we lost to PSG 3-0 and then Leverkusen 3-1. Both of those games, actually, I think, were away from home, the ones we lost, and the ones we won were at home. So I'm half expecting Madrid to maybe win this one because we are in Madrid, and that just seems to be the way things go for us. But we are a good team. We are just starting to hit form. All these new signings are starting to gel and come together and start playing some nice football. I think that's probably part of the reason why we struggled a little bit at the start. We just didn't have that fluidity. In fact, when you looked at like the team cohesion, the dynamics, it was quite far down. It wasn't even like green, it was like red. I think just because of all the new players we had and like, you know, who we were starting to play, and a lot of them hadn't been playing together for a while. And then and it's 1-0. Nahuel Molina, I literally just set him to be tightly marked as well, because I knew he was going to make these sorts of runs. I knew this was going to happen with him, so that's why I said tightly mark him. And he's not being tightly marked. Damn it. Yeah, so I had a feeling this might happen. You've got to be kidding me. We're going to be 2-0 down inside, 15 minutes? Unbelievable. Come on, Dennis. Wrong way. 2-0 down. I should have... See, I knew it. I just knew it was going to happen. Knew it was going to happen. Unbelievable. This is the only thing that annoys me with this skin is this. You have to click exactly on their name. Come on, boys. This is not... Yes, Jovic. Come on. Let's go. Yes! 2-1. 2-1. Perfect. That's great play from Jovic. Putting the press on the back line, winning the ball, just here, nicking in, getting in front of Omar Alderete, who's on a yellow card. We need to keep running at him. Plays a great ball in, and Martinez taps it in. Brilliant. Perfect response. But yeah, as I said, if we can win this, we will climb up into the top 8. Castorani back out to Jovic. Can we get another goal? Can we? Yes! 2-2! We pulled it back before half-time. Nemanja Jovic, unbelievable. I checked his stats before. His numbers for this club are ridiculous that we've managed to achieve with him while we've been here. So in like 320 odd games, he's got like a ridiculous amount of goal contributions, and he's got an assist and a goal today to drag us back into this. What are they checking an offside for? Is it this? Is it... I mean, he's quite comfortably onside, let's be honest. There's about four Atletico Madrid players playing him on, and that's a brilliant response, and that's put us back up into 17th. Basically just gave all the players a bit of a boost at half-time, said, oh, you're doing really well controlling the midfield, some of the best attacking play, blah, 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 just to try and send them out with a really good boost in morale, and hopefully spur them on to get the win. And we're going to have to make some changes soon, 100%. I think we'll bring Choquette on for Bettens, and maybe have to take Voronkov off. I'm not sure who for. Let's have a look. So we made 4 changes. We brought on Kazimi for Martinez because Kazimi's got decent pace. Choquette on for Bettens. Nazari on for Rogana. And Flippich has gone right back. And we brought Mancini in for Voronkov. Like I said, Mancini does have that versatility. Please, no, thank you. Come on, boys. That was the only chance so far of this second half. And the last change is going to be not... See what I mean? It's going to be Macetic on for Jovic. Macetic has got his pace, he's got his trickery, cutting in, give them something else to worry about on that right hand side. Jovic has had a great game, but you know you got to make changes every now and then. Choquette comes on not as an inside forward, and let's hope we can nick a winner because it'd be a phenomenal turnaround if we could. But our other games are against Man United, and I think it's going to be 2-2. Yeah, 2-2. You know what? Considering where we were, I'm not too bothered about that. Would have liked to win again against Atleti, but to take a draw after we were 2-0 down, brilliant fight back. So what that means is we stay in 18th, believe it or not, a place ahead of Liverpool, level on points with Inter, and we are level on points with pretty much everyone else, to be fair, who's in and around here. Only 2 points off Leverkusen, 2 points off PSG and Milan and Arsenal and Madrid. So, yeah, not too bad. So, like I said, our next games, we've got United, Porto, Legia Warsaw, Barca and Arsenal. So, really, I think we need to try and get about 6 points here, I would say, to try and have a good chance of going through. Porto home. I'd like to think we could maybe get a win. We were unlucky to lose in the Dragao. I think it was the Dragao we lost in last season, wasn't it? I think it was. We have actually got United at home. Last time we played United at home, we did actually beat them 1-0. Warsaw, we should be winning. And then hopefully by that point, it doesn't really matter whether we lose to Barcelona and Arsenal, because hopefully we'll have at least 10 points, which usually is enough, I find, to get you through here. Not always, but last year, 10 points would have been enough. We finished in 8th, and if we'd have had 1 more point, we would have gone through. As you can see, Jovic leading the assist charts with 5 assists so far. So, good on him. And as I was saying, when you look at his stats, 123 goals, 80 assists, 34 player of the match appearances, and 316 games. He is a true Partizan icon. So going back to the schedule, what I think I might do is I might actually bring it back for the Legia game. You know what, we might as well do Red Star and Legia, and we see if we can get revenge for that 3-0 defeat away to Red Star. But as you can see in the league, we have been slipping up a little bit. We lost 2-0 to Serdulica, which was a real shock. And then, we lost to Red Star. Drew with Mladas Luciani, which was really disappointing. And this draw with TSC was really frustrating because it meant that Red Star were able to get 6 points clear. And unfortunately, TSC did take the lead against Red Star, but then collapsed and ended up losing quite comfortably. So it looks like Red Star are the team to beat in the league. In terms of in Europe, so Vojvodina just got their first win after 3 games in the Europa League, which just sneaks them into 23rd. So we'll be looking to see if they can push on and qualify again. And then if we look at the Conference League, hopefully they played their second game. Yes, they have, which Red Star did win after they drew their first one. Who did they just play? They just played Dinamo Minsk and they won 2-0 after drawing with Apoel Nicosia in the first game. What that means is for the coefficient points, like I said, we are trying to get back up to 10th, hopefully overtake Austria. We are due to overtake them as it stands. That's good. We've got a slight advantage over them. 4.4 points so far, 2.8 for Austria, 4.8 for Turkey, 4.7 for Denmark. Main aim for this season is just to get back above Austria so you get that automatic qualification spot. from coming first, but obviously ultimately we need to start climbing back up, and it's some way to go before we can at least start catching up with the Netherlands. So everyone, I hope you have enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you very soon for the Warsaw game. It'll be in about a couple of game months, so just before Christmas I think it is. So I shall see you all then. Take care, look after yourselves, stay safe, bye for now.